So when you run a daily show for 10,000 episodes, you really lose the purpose that you started it for, right? There is a limit to how much you should stretch creativity for commerce. Digital wellness is where e-commerce was 10 years ago. And e-commerce 10 years ago suffered from trust.
Tarun, welcome to Variety India. It's
Thank you
truly
so much.
exciting to have you on board. I want to take you back in time. I've known you for a while now. And I want to take you back and ask you, because the Tarun Katial that I knew when I was a rookie reporter with a publication, who we would chase and ask for interviews and ask for quotes. And I remember how hectic life back in the day was, and I'm guessing a lot hasn't changed now. But what was the tipping point, that moment when you decided, or that bulb in your mind went off? Do you remember the day, the time, the moment when you decided that I'm doing this?
So, media is a great journey. You can reach out to millions of people, do very exciting work, tell great stories, build great characters. And I got the opportunity to do many formats, right? Right from satellite television and its advent right at the start with Star, doing exciting work with Sony, creating Big FM in India, then doing OTT with Z5, also a lot of direct-to-digital films at Z5. And there came a point where I said, hey man, we've tried to make an impact through all the stories we tell, but can I get a deeper sense of purpose for my life? And what can I do to really touch people's life directly, right? The thing about media is that you hope for an impact through the stories you tell, but I really wanted to connect with people one-to-one and see if we could help with transformation, help with, all the shit that goes on to people's heads, and to be able to make that slight difference and slight support when you don't have no one in your life. And I'll tell you a little bit about my journey in life, Tushar. So when I left Star TV way back almost 20 years ago, an aunt of mine, she actually recommended that I do Vipassana. And I went and did a Vipassana course, not knowing much of what really Vipassana entailed, but it was a very cathartic moment in my life, right? It transformed me from within, and it put the seed of awareness in me that my breath was the first sign of my equilibrium and how I can control my mind through my breath, right? And how breath work really impacts you in the long run. And that purpose, right? And if you go back and you read about, I've written a lot about it, right? That purpose stayed with me for many, many years, right? And I thought that this was a great opportunity to be able to make purpose into business, where you can help people find their equilibrium in some form or fashion to provide them that support when they need it the most. Yeah.
You mentioned a few roles briefly when you started talking about this, and I can tell that I know for the fact that how the industry takes a toll on you. I don't want to pinpoint and say, oh, media is so ruthless and it's cutthroat and we don't have fixed timings, it takes a toll on our family life, all of that. But I do know for a fact that when you're in that chair or in that space where you're responsible for so many decisions, right? And then you go back home, you switch that phone off, and either you're in your chair or either you're in bed and you're thinking. It has happened to me at one point in time where I'm like, what am I doing? Or is this something that is making me happy? Were there these kind of questions that popped up in your mind? And if yes, how did you battle with these questions in terms of just, of course you enjoy what you do, but then there is this space of beyond this what? Now what's my next? How do I satisfy my soul purpose?
You're right? So when you run a daily show for 10,000 episodes, you really lose the purpose that you started it for, right? Even the characters lose their shape, their form. So whenever you start a story, you think that it's got great purpose, you've got to make an impact on people, you've got to do something meaningful. But unfortunately, it is a very hard world, right? And viewers' choices shift so dramatically over a period of time. In trying to marry commerce with creativity, you end up making so many compromises that you lose the sense of motivation and the sense of inspiration that you initially start from. And every now and then you've got to really circle your clock back and saying, hey man, is this what we look to do, and is this the right kind of choice I need to make, right? And fortunately, unfortunately for me, Tushar, because I was in a position that I could make those decisions and make the difference. Many times over, we took very hard decisions of, hey, we won't do this show, or we won't tell this story any longer, or this is full stop to where it needs to get to. because this was the right thing to do, right? And we ended up not making as many compromises in what we were doing as we would have done otherwise, right? There is a limit to how much you should stretch creativity for commerce. I think increasingly what's happening in the media world today, you're realizing that you've got to find that perfect balance of making something which is truly meaningful for it to even crystallize as commerce. And consumers also get it now, right? Pure play entertainment with no meaning is finding it hard to create an impact now.
Right. I want to now lead into Cotto, right? First of all, the name is really catchy. It has a really nice sound to it. I want to talk to you about how did this name come about, and I believe Cotto stands for come together. Were you toying with a few names? I'm sure ideation happened. How did this struck a chord?
So yeah, we thought of many names, like, agencies are hired to and money is paid to them so that they can think of many names, right? But when we were like coming around the core message of wanting to build, right? We believe that support is a true need in today's society, right? A lot of us are lonely, right? A lot of us need somebody who is truly authentic, who truly really cares for us to get through some of the big tribulations we have in life, right? It's easier said than done that we come alone and we're going to go alone. The fact is that the journey we take on Mother Earth is also a place where we meet very many people, and some leave a big impact on our life, right? Good or for bad. And the ones who leave a positive impact, we are always grateful to them, right? And so in moments of need, in moments of authenticity, in the moments where we really crave for that company is when, if you find somebody, then that's called coming together, right? Coming together to create what we call, hope, what we call glimmer, right? And I love the word glimmer because that's really, there is the shimmer of media and there is the glimmer of hope, right? And we need the glimmer of hope on a daily basis to get through many challenges that face us. Yeah.
In a market that has so many options, and I can tell that mental health has become such an important topic of conversation, it has also become a choice for all of us to reach out to, whether it's on the phone, whether it's on our TV, whether we are flying on a plane and there is some article about the conversation, we automatically, organically reach towards that because everybody at some point is seeking help. Some of us make it very public and we speak to somebody. Some of us don't have that privilege, or I could say perhaps
Even
the courage to first acknowledge it even before going out and seeking help. I want to speak to you about what is the core value of Cotto, what does it stand for, and how did you decide to make sure that there is integrity and we stand away from what others are doing, because there are a few apps and there are a few options for people to go to.
I love your question. There are very few people who've asked me this question. I've done about 40 podcasts on Cotto, but truly nobody's ever asked me this question. So full marks to you because I genuinely want to talk about it, and I'll tell you why. Right? Digital wellness is where e-commerce was 10 years ago. And e-commerce 10 years ago suffered from trust. Right? You wouldn't buy a lot of products online primarily because you didn't know you were getting the right quality, were you getting the right size, but also importantly, were you getting fakes or were you getting originals, right? And over a period of time, the trust has come in because people still sell packaged goods to you from e-commerce now, right? But they're not selling anything which is genuinely, truly their own, right? When they truly sell you, like say veggies or fruits, you still won't buy them on quick commerce, but you'll want to go back, buy them in the market because you still worry on quality that they're delivering to you. So truly, trust is equal to quality, and that's where today digital wellness is. Can you create trust and can you create quality? And that's what Cotto is trying to do. So we're not a marketplace. The one thing different we did, Tushar, is that we are not a marketplace. So it's not that you can come and list yourself on our platform and you can hope for us to provide customers to you, right? A lot of large marketplaces, even on the product side today, I won't buy a branded product out of some of the big marketplaces because I'm not sure whether I'll get a fake or I'll get an original, right? It's one of the stories of perfumes and deodorants that you get on the local Banya and Kirana. You will never buy them because you know that they're not original, right? And so we decided that ours is going to be a fully contracted, on rolls kind of place, right? So this is equal to you going to a great hospital which employs great doctors, right? So we do not employ any freelancers, any gig workers. Everybody who needs to be listed on our platform needs to go through several layers of vetting, and then you're on our rolls and we pay you a salary. So your motivation is only to deliver great quality to your customer.
Do they stay exclusive to Cotto?
Exclusive to Cotto. You're full-time exclusive to Cotto. So you have no double motivation that, hey, okay, if I charge Tushar more money, if I do long consultations with Tushar, I'm making half that money because it's on a revenue share with me. So let me missell to Tushar. Your motivation is only single: quality, quality, quality. You've got to help Tushar get the right kind of advice that Tushar needs. And why do we do that? Is because in emotional wellness, people come to you when they are the most vulnerable, right? They are even physical chodo, but in emotionally they are the most vulnerable. At that moment, you are feeling down. You don't know whether you can trust anybody. You're already judged. You're not going to your family, obviously, because the family judges you first. You're not going to your friends because that's a barrier of how much you can tell them. So it's essential for us to be able to give them the best support they can get. One. Two, also beyond just support, right, which is consultation support, can I give you a healing pathway? Which is, can I then work out something like meditation for you, something like Reiki for you, something which is more meaningful, coaching for you, which will take you down to a healing pathway so that you don't become codependent on me. Eventually, you find your own strength and you can find your own mental peace. So those are the two things that we make difference, right? Top quality, fully contracted expert base, and a healing pathway and a transformational journey for you.
I'm really happy to know that there is no compromise on the most basic and core principle of what I would expect from something like a Cotto. I think that's where there's already a tick box in terms of me marking a check on it. This is great. It's great as an idea, and it's great because it's transparent. You know what you're up for. There are no middle managers or men, like you said. Then the question obviously that comes in my mind is, if it's so good to believe it's true, how does one sustain this? What kind of a revenue model does this have? Or what about the business side of it?
So people pay per minute as they speak to us, but we increasingly encourage them not to pay per minute, because we don't want our motivation to be that you'd speak longer to us. But we encourage them to buy specific packs, like a 30-minute pack or a 40-minute pack or a 20-minute pack, where you come and actually diagnose with us and we understand what your real problem is. So it's like an OPD. And then we build really a healing pathway to you. And we never push that down your throat. We just, we tell you what your possibilities are. From here, if you start up on breath work, then this is how you could see results. If you want to do a healing journey, then this is what we could do for you. If you want to do relationship coaching, then this is what we could do for you. If you want to do sacred geometry, then this is what we could do for you, right? And considering what your real challenge is, what your belief system is, where do you find your top blockers, we really help you find your path forward. Yeah. So that's really our model, and for every healing pathway you pay us, pay us as you go along. But actually, one of the things we say very proudly is pay only when you're happy. So all your consultations, in the first 3 consultations, if you ever feel that this isn't what I wanted and this isn't what the quality I want, we give you a unquestioned refund. So our refund takes you exactly 30 seconds. You go there and you say,
there's a window for a refund.
The window is 24 hours, but there is a button saying didn't like refund. You press the refund, the money comes back to you.
Wow, that's a first.
No question asked refund.
Because honestly, I have tried a couple of these apps and it's the other way around on most of them.
You never have to ask us why you're wanting a refund, right? Like, we don't ever ask you. Go ahead, you don't like it, up to you. But we hardly have anybody taking it. The truth is that when you are so open and honest, very few people actually exploit the system.
Yeah, because I think the human mind works in a way where, one is you're not used to somebody giving you like a very honest deal, right? There's always this question mark in the back of our head that, oh, if you're asking for my PIN or my CVV or some sort of a bank detail, do I really want to get into that? And if you're as transparent as Cotto, and if you have that experience, I'm definitely going to pick up the phone on a friend and say, hey, listen, don't worry, I had this experience. That leads me to my next question is that I used the app for a bit and I sort of browsed it. There were really interesting sections like breath work, there's Reiki, there's relationships, there's love. There's also a section which is open questions. If you don't fall into any of those categories, then you're free, because I'm guessing, like all of us, there are no boxes and end marks to our questions,
Correct,
right? They're
correct.
unending.
And also a lot of it is interconnected, right?
Yes, it is. Because I chose the last option and then it took me back to sort of other options, which leads me on to ask that, as per your research or your understanding from the team, what has been your most, not successful, but the one area that people tend to veer towards the most? And part two of this is, when you expand in this, what's your next expansion process?
So the truth is that actually our relationships matter the most to us, right? And a lot of love, marriage, family also intertwines in that. But our relationships matter the most to us, right? The world has become harder and harder. I think the way technology has played a role in our life is that our level of intimacy with somebody is also defined by how often and how easy we are to communicate through technology with you. So we are on WhatsApp with each other, I message you, you message back immediately, right? You are very responsive, I'm very responsive, and suddenly I go cold, right? And so ghosting socially means ghosting digitally has become the biggest problem for people, right? People block each other. There is no closure, right? You and me have a fight, and I block you, you block me. You haven't got a closure from me. I also have blocked you, but I also haven't got a closure from you. We don't have decent conversations with each other anymore, right? I think Zoya made a great film, Kho Gaye Hum Kahan.
Yes.
Right, and it was all about what we do with each other socially, and that life that we live digitally is kind of more important to us than the life we live in the real world, right? And that's creating all the chaos in our life, even more so. So that's the biggest key point we say, and then 90% of our calls is a breakdown in communication, right? And how do you really rebuild trust, and how do you really rebuild communication with each other? So that's one. And the second part of your question, very interesting, on what do we do next from here, is that there are two parts that we want to do next, right? So one is that we've just launched subscription on the platform, and we want to really build mental health or emotional wellness equal to your physical fitness. So you have a gym membership and you ever so often go to the gym, right? But we want you to start thinking of your emotional wellness as an ongoing habit that you need, right? An ongoing support that you need, whether it's an ongoing meditation framework that you follow or an ongoing energy healing. But we want to give, and we've done it very small. Take 10 minutes a day, or take 10 minutes every other day, take 10 minutes a week, but come and talk to us and tell us and unload and unravel what the baggage you keep collecting over a period of time. So that's one part. And the second part is we think that the India to the world is a great model, right? India's the land of spirituality, right? And I think we've got great talent in India to be able to take some of these spiritual modalities that we have across to many other parts of the world who are seeking this true authentic spiritual awakening from India. Yeah.
Wow, I think that's interesting, because I remember every time I either watch a late night show in the US, or if it's a best-selling book on New York Times, or there is something about using turmeric or cinnamon or the most basic ingredients in a kitchen, and obviously people are now jumping onto that, but like you said, it's coming back to our roots.
Meditation, Reiki, all of this, right? These are all Buddhist forms and Buddhas from India, and right, and a lot of the Tibetan and Buddhist Theravada traditions are now traveling across the world. There are so many meditation centers in New York itself, right?
Yes.
So
I have to now take you back in time a bit again and ask you, you can take a man out of what he loves doing the most and maybe put, where I'm heading with this. I want to ask you, not do you miss that space of, the chaos, the pressures, the deadlines, obviously the teamwork, the spirit of building something, watching it grow, watching the audience go crazy for it, and then obviously, sort of you go back in space and take a distance from that, and you also revere in the love that comes your way. What is your take on where we are headed in not just TV, but in terms of consuming content on streaming, in theatrical, your words of wisdom or your take has always been something that has sort of been very closely watched by the industry. Would love to get your thoughts on where we are.
Awesome question. So I honestly believe that all media or medium formats are going to stay for long. But I think we're going to have to work hard to be able to get the consumer's attention, right? I think films are going to be selective. People are going to be very discerning on what they watch because time is of the essence, right? And people are now time starved, right? So giving my 3 hours to something, I'm very discerning about that. I'm not as free. I can doom scroll for the whole day, but I'm not free, right? And how time passes when you're scrolling, you don't know, and then you're saying I'm very busy. But giving 3 hours is becoming harder. So films are going to be discerning, and that's where they are. I think the hardest is going to be OTT, unfortunately. I think the quality of content will have to take a dramatic shift to engage because neither are the young watching it, neither are the middle-aged watching it, and the older ones are not interested in it too much. So I think OTT, and I've played OTT. I think it's going to have a slightly harder time. Series and going through 10, 12 episodes is going to be harder. These themes have got to be very, very sharp. They're doing more and more inspired from true life, but just inspired from true life won't work. People have to really see themselves and see something really dramatically new on it. The one that will catch traction, and it already has, is short form entertainment and both storytelling, fiction and non-fiction.
When you say short form, you mean?
Vertical video.
Okay.
All right. I think that's here to stay, right? A lot of both good quality entertainment content as well as both educational content through some of these podcasts and all is here to stay. But nobody ain't watching long form YouTube horizontal. It's all vertical. I think the human mind is now tuned to not more than 90 to 180 seconds, and that is going to be harder and harder to change, within which also people scroll up even faster. So that's where the challenge of telling stories in such short period of time and garnering attention will be the key, right? And it's going to be interesting. I think there's going to be a whole new set of storytellers and some older ones who are going to reinvent the piece and are going to do something, which we all will look out for in the next few years. Yeah.
What are some of the titles or shows that has got you hooked on and you're not skipping them?
I think there are a few shows that make a lot of sense to you, and then you tend to love the characters. I watch Hacks. I don't know whether you've seen Hacks.
Yes.
It's a Vegas-based show. Awesome, very, very interesting. I've been watching The Gilded Age. Again, created in New York of the 1980s. It's a completely unique background. You won't get this anywhere else. And it's almost like a continuation of Downton Abbey. Downton Abbey is, a great example of how long form can hold you and has had 3 successful movie franchises out of it. But that's just the pure strength of characters, right? If you can build characters like that, then they can stay. Downton Abbey stayed around for 20 odd years, right? And the last film just came last month.
Yeah.
And so, those are rare to happen, and it's going to be harder and harder to make them happen. Yeah.
I think also I'm drawn to Downton Abbey and the Gilded Age because I also want to take some time off technology and real life.
Correct.
I also want to be transported to a different timeline era.
Correct.
I'm so intrinsically drawn towards timelines that are not concurrent, characters that are not wearing the same clothes, people that don't speak the same way. And I think that's why these
There's
shows...
some novelty in it, right?
Absolutely.
There's something that, you learn from them. The characters are very inspirational. They've taken on a different time, a different age, and have tried to make the difference in that here. And they had no access to a lot of the kind of things that we have access to, right? Life's become terribly easy now, right? You hardly have to work for anything here.
That takes me to my next question is, what are your thoughts on AI? Because you just said we don't need to work a lot. And I had this conversation with a lot of filmmakers. I recently was in Tokyo and I spoke to Christopher Nolan's brother, Jonathan. And his take was that, to each his own, but it's a worrying thought. It's again how you use the knife, whether you use to cut it or to murder someone. What are your thoughts on AI getting
I think it's here to stay. Anybody who thinks that it's a passing fad is really not real and is not, staring at the reality. Let me first tell you that I am an AI graduate from Kellogg.
Oh, okay.
Right. So
whatever you say now will be finally read.
Correct. So I in 2021, I actually went out and did another post-graduation in digital transformation from Northwestern Kellogg, and I majored in product strategy and AI. Who knew that AI was going to become, I think I just get lucky most times. And we use a lot of deep AI on our platform, primarily because I think it allows for far more access of the same content to many more people, right? We train our models on all the conversations that we have so that we can provide to you without having you to pay the same kind of cost that somebody else can, right? Because AI allows for much cheaper access for the same thing, right? It's also democratizing everything: content creation, story writing, strategy creation, marketing, so on and so forth. I mean, you would have had to hire a top end marketing specialist and still not be able to get the job done that you can do with a great AI model. But the big difference is that base level intelligence required to use AI is much higher now. So the level of clever prompting and articulation of your thought and clarity that you need to be able to use AI is far more than what you could do with humans, right? AI is smarter and smarter than you, and that's why you need to be smart on the way you're able to articulate your thoughts. So today when we hire people, the first thing we look for is their ability to communicate. If we are hiring a coder, it's not about the way the code they can write the code, but how can they articulate the problem statement, because the code will get written by AI.
Right.
But if they have the clarity in articulating the problem statement, then they'll be able to get better output from AI. Same thing from a marketing person, same thing from a content person. What are you really looking for? If you can't clearly tell me what you're really looking for, then you're garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
But if you can articulate, then AI can actually make you, jump many steps without having to worry about it. Yeah.
Do you think actors can be replaced by AI? Because we have AI anchors now, we have AI singers.
I don't think actors will get replaced by AI, but I think a lot that they do will be defined by AI, which is a lot of the refined storytelling, the character building will be done by AI. People will have AI avatars to do some of the short form content that they may do or not want to do. That's a reality, right? You can see Instagram's full of AI led characters. I follow this very funny one called Dadigram. If you see it, it's South Delhi Dadis, right? And they kind of say the things that most humans will not say, but they say it effortlessly, and you're like, shit, man, right? Yeah. So that kind of stuff is going to happen, right? A lot of companies are signing up AI avatars of a lot of actors, and it will free them up to do better stuff, right? So if you want an actor to be able to create a lot of short form content on an ongoing basis, hard, right? But the AI avatar will end up doing it, and I think the reverse will happen, that the AI avatar will find a tone and personality that the actual actor may have to adopt later. I can tell you that will go, because you can refine the model, and then the actor will have to go back and do what the avatar has created. Yeah.
What are your thoughts
And
on?
this is all very far reaching, but it's going to happen.
There's this whole conversation going on about how you could just talk to ChatGPT, and how there's this whole trend going on social media about you don't really need a real life partner, or boyfriend, or a girlfriend, because you can just go back home, open your ChatGPT or any AI app, talk about how your day went, no judgment whatsoever, multiple options to sort of look at, and then there is this whole fear of what if the prompt gives you an option that should not be an option for you in real life. There have been cases in the past where people
already
have
suicide and very undesirable cases. And so what we're really doing is we are building very safe models on top of existing foundational LLMs, so that we are able to provide very filtered responses. And we're building a voice to voice model as well as a text to text model. But till now we've been filtering that within human intervention. So a lot of this content that we develop then goes to an expert, and while the expert is talking to you, they can look at some of the cues we are giving them, but eventually it will become AI to the human, and we do want to do that, but in an environment that is very controlled and very safe. But there's some very good voice to voice models that have come in. They understand their tone, your personality.
Yeah.
If you're sad, they'll respond to you in an uplifting manner. If you're excited, if you're hyper, whatever, and in every language, you can speak over them, they will pause. So it's a really human to human conversation.
You also have now rings and bands that you're wearing that are telling you what your mood is like, which again, I'm like, I don't want too many gadgets on my body. I already know what's happening. As I wrap up this chat, I want to ask you, 2026, we're getting into the new year. What can anyone expect from Cotto? What's exciting for you? What's the team talking about? What's the boardroom looking like?
So I think the big thing is our vision is accessibility. And we want to use as much AI to be able to create accessible wellness care for people. And so that's really the thought for next year. Yeah. So really taking off from what we just said.
Great. I think this was a great chat, and for anyone who, I don't think anyone, but I think for everyone who just wants to sort of have that reassurance that everything is going to be fine, whether you are feeling shy, whether you don't know, you're an introvert, you don't know who to talk to, there is a safe space that you can explore. And I hope that this chat that I've had with Tarun gives you that self of reassurance, gives you that comfort and warmth blanket of, yes, let me take that step. And then again, it's again holding hands and just guiding you through that. I have personally used Cotto, and I thought it was outstanding. It's obviously a tool that one could use on so many levels and in so many ways. Wishing everybody a very happy new year, and hoping that mental health awareness and mental health stays our number one priority in the coming year.
Thank you so much, Tushar.
Thank you.
Very well said.